One of these young men spent 5 months under the ice, 800 miles from the North Pole. What is your name, please?
My name is Kent Goering.
My name is Kent Goering.
My name is Kent Goering.
Only one of these young men is the real Kent Goering. The other two are imposters and will try to fool this panel. Tom Poston, Pat Carroll, Johnny Carson, and Betty White on to Tell the Truth with your host, Bud Collier.
Thank you very much. Thank you, and welcome once again to Tell the Truth. Brought to you this week by Dristan Decongestant Tablets. The new 3-layer tablet for effective relief from cold miseries, sinus congestion, and pollen allergies. Hi, panel.
Hi, Bud.
Good to be back with you all bright and shining tonight. Will you open your envelopes, please, for the first time and remove your affidavits therefrom? And let's follow along as I read from this first one. I, Kent Goering, am an Eagle Scout. Last fall, I was selected from among Boy Scouts from all parts of the country to take part in an unusual scientific experiment. I have recently returned from a 5-month visit to a unique community. Although it is only 4 blocks long and 3 blocks wide, it is heated and powered by atomic energy. Its streets are all tunnels, and it is populated entirely by men. It is the United States Army's Arctic experimental station called Camp Century. It is staffed with both Army and civilian scientists and is built under the snow of Greenland's ice cap, just 800 miles from the North Pole. Signed, Kent Goering. To start our show tonight, panel, 3 stalwart young men, each one claiming to be Kent Goering, Eagle Scout. And we will begin this first round of questioning tonight with Tom Poston. Tom?
Thank you, Bud. Mr. Goering, number 3, do you know what permafrost is?
Yes, I do. It's, it's permanently frozen ground.
Number 2, what temperature does that stay at? What temperature does that stay at? What temperature?
It'd be about minus 40 Fahrenheit.
The permafrost is that cold all the time?
Yes, sir.
Number 1, what is the biggest air base in Greenland?
That is Thule Air Base.
Number 3, excuse me, what bay is that located in? In what bay is that located? At. Prepositions are murder.
I do not know.
You don't know?
No.
By golly, I don't know why you should. Can you tell me, number 3, what those buildings are made of in that Camp Century?
They're made of wood, mostly.
Pat?
Number 2, what is the Boy Scout oath?
Boy Scout oath. You want me to recite it?
Please.
On my honor, I will do my best to do my duty to God and my country, to obey the Scout law, to help other people at all times, and to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight.
Good boy. Good boy.
I think you did that mighty well. Number 3, what is the Eskimo burial service in Greenland, or the process by which they bury the Eskimos in Greenland?
I don't know.
Number 1, do you...
Deep Freeze.
Number 1, do you know?
No, I don't.
Number 2.
Sorry, I don't.
Johnny Carson, please.
Number 3, what's the Girl Scout oath? Number 3, how far under the actual top of the ice are you housed?
Approximately 30 feet.
Were you a scout? I shouldn't. I was never a scout.
I was.
You were a Boy
Scout.
Scout?
No, I was a Girl Scout.
You know what I missed out on? I did a good deed. I helped an old lady across the street, and she didn't want to go.
That's how I met your grandmother.
That's how it worked out. Number 1, how many men were involved in this?
Approximately 120.
And you stayed for how long?
For 5.5 months.
Uh-huh. It's a great place to hold a party. You never
Yes,
have to send out
sir.
for ice at all.
Shop your own cues.
Number 3, how are you?
Betty White. Betty?
Number 3, for the time that you were there, did you have very much daylight?
There was about 3 months of total darkness.
And
The rest of the time it was partly Partly light.
Number 2, when it was light, what time of year was that?
Well, that'd be early winter and the late winter.
Number 1, this was quite an honor to be chosen from all those Boy Scouts, and we're proud of whichever one of you it is. What was the purpose of the experiment?
Well, the purpose of the experiment is, of course, to see whether man can survive in Arctic conditions on a year-round basis with an eye in the future toward having a year-round scientific base.
Number 2, as an Eagle Scout,
Right, that's
Can you
all. As
fly?
an Eagle Scout or anything else, we can't do anything but go right now to the compilation of our ballots. So will you kindly, without consultation, panel, mark your ballots and vote for number 1, number 2, or number 3. Team of challengers, as is our custom, of course, will receive $250 for every incorrect vote. Are we all set, panel? Tom, for whom did you vote?
I voted for number 1, Bud. I think they were all... Thank you. Don't welch now if it isn't number 1. I think we didn't get any misinformation from anyone, I didn't feel. And so it was more a matter of demeanor than anything, and just a guess.
Mm-hmm. Pat?
I voted for number 2 because he recited the oath so beautifully.
Johnny?
I voted for number 2 because he's got the most hair and he'd be the warmest up there.
And finally, what is your vote, Betty?
I voted for number 1. Let's just hope, shall we?
Well, there we have it. The votes are all in. On my honor, we have done our best to see how well we can come out with the truth in this little situation tonight, as we discover now which one of these gentlemen is the young man who lived under the ice for such a long time. So will the real Kent Goering please stand up? Boy, I'm telling you, I don't know where that comes in the Scout law, but he sure did it, didn't he? Wow, good job, fellas. Let's find out about the other 2. Now, number 1, what is your real name and what do you really do?
My name is Sonny Carr. I'm appearing with the Charles DeForest Trio at J. Lawrence and Larry Storch's Crystal Room here in Manhattan. I'm a drummer.
You're a drummer. And number 2, your real name and what you do, please.
My name is Lars Hansen. I'm a student at Ridgefield High School in Ridgefield, Connecticut.
I have one last question for you, number 2. Where in the Scout Oath does it tell you that you can lie that well? You boys did a great job, and in checking the score, you can well know that you'll go out of here with broad smiles on your faces because you fooled the panel completely. That means 4 incorrect answers at $250 each for a total from Dristan decongestant tablets of $1,000. And, of course, a package of wonderful products from the makers of Dristan for you. Good night, young man. We're proud to have had you with us. God bless you. And now, how to get relief from cold miseries.
Man, my sinuses are jumping in this cold.
Haven't you heard about Dristan?
Dristan decongestant tablets. Modern medical achievement that helps drain all 8 sinuses, critical areas of pressure and pain. Dristan is the fast-acting, uncoated 3-layer tablet which for the first time combines a decongestant to shrink all swollen membranes, an exclusive anti-allergent to help keep breathing passages dry and clear, pain relievers to reduce aches and fever of colds and sinus congestion, vitamin C to help build body resistance. This is Dristan. Circulating through the blood, Dristan reaches all congested areas, shrinks all swollen membranes, promotes sinus drainage, thus relieves congestion, pressure, pain. No sugar-coated or single-layer tablet, no capsule, can duplicate Dristan's exclusive formula. There's nothing like Dristan decongestant tablets.
Now, panel, let's meet our next team of challengers.
What is your name, please?
My name is Mabel Mary Frances Potter.
My name is Mabel Mary Frances Potter.
My name is Mabel Mary Frances Potter.
My name is Mabel. No, I'm sorry. Follow along, panel. Take your eyes down onto the affidavit cards and follow along.
Yes, sir.
I, Mabel Mary Frances Potter, am an exotic dancer. Under the name of Penny Potter, I entertain in cafes and nightclubs. My hobby is raising and showing championship cows. I owned my first cow when I was 9 years old, and at one time owned a herd of 34. My Guernsey, named Driftwood's Royal Robin, once won the National Grand Championship. To date, my animals have won more than 50 trophies and hundreds of ribbons. Although I still own and show several cows, I sold most of my herd to pay for acting and dancing lessons in New York. Signed, Penny Potter. Panel, you heard these three young ladies claiming to be Penny Potter, exotic dancer. Let's begin this round with Johnny Carson. Johnny? Johnny?
Oh,
I say Johnny?
Number one. Son of a gun. That's about it, yeah. What's the difference between a Guernsey and a Holstein cow?
Well, a Guernsey cow is smaller than a Holstein, and it's brown and white, where the Holstein is black and white. And the Guernsey gives much better milk. It's richer in butterfat content. But the Holstein gives more milk.
I'm sorry, I asked. Number three. How did you decide on the name? You're an exotic dancer, right?
Yes.
How did you pick out the name Penny Potter?
Well, it just went along with Potter. Penny went along with Potter, so I thought Penny Potter would be easy to remember.
They always have names like that. Mm-hmm. I knew one that was named Kitty Litter.
Betty, if you care to, you may question.
Thank you, Bud. First of all, I see now why you wore the dress, Pat. Number one, what is Santa Gertrudis?
Pardon me?
What would Santa Gertrudis be?
I don't know.
Number two, what would Santa Gertrudis be?
I never heard of that one.
Number three?
I don't know.
Number one, where is the King Ranch?
Pardon me?
The King Ranch.
I don't know.
Number two, what color is an Ayrshire cow?
An Ayrshire? They're spotted. They're from England, little Channel Island from England. They're used mostly in England.
Number three, what color is an Ayrshire cow?
Reddish and white. They have long horns.
Tom?
Thank you. Gosh, what a treacherous group of questioners we proved to be this time. I'd like to ask number three, on which side of the cow a milkmaid sits. To milk the cow, of course. Not
Well, it depends upon which end you're looking at it from.
Well, number three.
Tom, here we go.
Number three, pick an end and tell me.
It's usually the right side.
It is, thank you. Maybe you could tell me, number three, how is the volume of milk that a cow gives, how is that determined? In what kind of measurement is used to determine the volume of a cow's milk?
It's usually in pounds when they sell it to the dairy.
Thank you.
Pat?
Number one, what is exotic dancing?
Well, exotic dancing is any type of dancing. It can be jazz, it can be ballet, but you have to take something off. Now, whether you take just a glove off or more than a glove, it's still exotic.
That may be all you have on.
Number three, what is the proper nomenclature in correct terminology, thank you, John Charles Daly, for an exotic dancer? For a stripper, let's say.
What did you say?
I was kind of confused myself. Let's forget it. May I ask number two, where do you keep your cows?
All the time we have in the pasture. I'll answer that for you. And it's time once again to vote. So if you will, please, measure the milk and use it to mark your ballot. Please, voting for, without consultation, number one, number two, or number three.
They all know better than we do.
All right. Okay, Tom, how many quarts?
How many? I voted for number 2. You see, this is one of the few shows where we encourage prompting. And I heard somebody say number 2. And it was better than my reason, so I wrote it down.
Pat, what number did you vote?
Again, you know, I had to scribble over, it's a woman's prerogative to change in the middle of the stream. And I voted for number 3 because she was hip.
She was hip?
She was hip. She had fast, good, right answers, which would lead me to believe she was theatrical.
Johnny, how do you call it?
I voted for number 3 because she mentioned about the pounds in milk, which I know nothing about anyway, so.
Betty?
I voted for number 3. Number 1 had almost too much information. Number 2, we didn't question very much. And number 3 just, well, I think if we should ask them all to dance, and whichever one is the best exotic dancer, that's
Well, let's bring that little three-legged stool up to the right side of the animal now and see how well we've milked this here animal as we discover which one of these 3 charming ladies is the real exotic dancer and owner of champion cows. So, will the real Penny Potter please stand up? Well, I tell you, that was sort of a comeback from the first round. You fooled them completely in the first round. This time, well, you got 1 incorrect one. Let's find out about these other 2 nice ladies. Number 1, your real name and what you really do.
My name is Kellyanne Holmes, and I'm an aerialist with Ringling Brothers, Barnum and Bailey Circus.
Hey! Glad you came down to the ground for our show. Number 2, your real name and what you really do.
My name is Paula Morris, and I demonstrate health foods on the boardwalk in Atlantic City, New Jersey.
Good girl. And as I mentioned before, the score doesn't reflect too much for you to take home except our goodwill, but there is 1 incorrect vote denoting $250 from Dristan, and of course a package of fine products from the makers of Dristan also. And as I said before, our best wishes go with you. We've enjoyed having you here. Good night, and God bless you all. Right now, a word about the protection of your floors.
Scuff it. Yes, you can scuff it. Spill on it. Yes, you can spill on it. Track dirt on it. Track dirt on it, too. Wipe, then buff, and the lasting shine comes back. It's new Aerowax. The shine lasts longer by far than other leading brands because only Aerowax has the lasting shine formula that shines back through roughest wear. The Aerowax shine lasts longer by far. Saves 23 cents a quart over other leading brands.
And now a word about Free Zone.
Stop. Cutting corns may be dangerous, painful. To safely remove corns or calluses in days, just drop on Free Zone, lift off corns. As you drop on Free Zone, it works instantly to relieve pain, form a protective cushion. Continued as directed for several days, Free Zone loosens the corn so you lift it off safely, painlessly. No more dangerous cutting, no bulky corn plasters. Just drop on Free Zone, lift off corns. Get liquid Free Zone.
All right, panel, let's meet our next team of challengers.
What is your name, please?
My name is Henry B. Montague.
My name is Henry B. Montague.
My name is Henry B. Montague.
Follow along once more, if you will, panel, with your copies of this final affidavit. I, Henry B. Montague, work for the largest single business in the world, the United States Post Office. During my many years of service, I have risen through the ranks to my present position. My work involves not only the continued efficiency of the Postal Service, but also the criminal investigation of such crimes as mail robbery, forgery of money orders, embezzlement of post office funds, and the mailing of bombs, poisons, extortion letters, poison pen letters, and other illegal material. In February of this year, I was called to Washington as the Chief Postal Inspector. Signed, Henry B. Montague. The gentlemen again, and this time, panel, they all claim, as you heard, to be Henry B. Montague, Chief Postal Inspector. We will begin this round of questioning with Betty White. Betty?
Thank you, Bud. Mr. Montague, number one, what is the most serious crime in the post office?
Armed robbery of anybody who's carrying the mail, a person or truck.
That is the most serious of anything that can be done. Number two, what of the things mailed through the mail, what is the most serious penalty, the most serious offense?
Well, this blackmail extortion letter is one of the most serious.
Number three, what is the penalty for blackmail?
Depending upon the extent of the crime. So any crime against the postal carrying is a federal offense and is tried in federal court.
Number one, where is your office in Washington?
On Pennsylvania Avenue between 12th and 13th Street.
Number two, who is your direct superior?
Postmaster General.
And number three, what is his full...
G. Edward Day.
Got that in. Tom Poston, please.
Thank you. I'll ask number three. Can you tell me, suppose a man writes a check for which he has no funds. Is there a punishment for this?
Not under the postal authorities.
There isn't. Number two, do you agree with that?
That's right.
What if he mails it, number two?
If he mails it with intent to defraud, then it's a violation.
And what can you do to him?
He can go to jail.
Are you in trouble, Tom?
No, but I know somebody who is. Number one, what is the punishment for writing a poison pen letter?
Well, that all depends again on the character of the letter and what the threat is. A poison pen letter is in reality a blackmail letter. And
Pat?
Thank you.
Thank you, but number one, what was your first job in the post office?
I joined as a substitute clerk.
I see. Number two, who was the former chief postal inspector?
David H. Stevens.
Mm-hmm. Number three, what legal term do you use for the prosecution under federal law for any of the commitments against?
Depends upon what the crime is. Embezzlement, mailing of forbidden material or such as explosives through the mail.
Mm-hmm. What are some of the other designated areas besides the things that are mentioned like bombs and are there any other important areas, number three?
Well, we've mentioned poison pen letters and bombs, mailing of explosives. That's bombs. Mailing of narcotics.
Mm-hmm.
Johnny.
Number one, who was the very first Postmaster General?
That was Benjamin Franklin, but he was Postmaster General while these United States were still colonies.
Number two, do you agree with that?
That's right.
Number three, do you agree with that?
Yes, and his headquarters was in Philadelphia.
Oh. Number two, when are you going to get some pens that work in the post office?
We already have them. We have ballpoint pens now.
Has there ever been a prosecution for a bomb explosion number one again in the
Yes,
mail?
some years ago up in the far reaches of Vermont, oddly enough, up in Burlington. We came across a bomb in the mail, and the prosecution was there. The case was tried there.
That's it. We'll never know now whether the bomb exploded before or after it was opened. But right now, let's open up our ballots and get ready to mark them, if you will, please. Without consultation, as always, vote for number one, number two, or number three. Everybody set? Tom, are you?
Yes, I am, Bud.
Okay. For whom did you vote this time?
Well, you see, they're so smart out there, nobody said a word this time. So they're just as confused. I figure they're just as confused as I am. I voted for number two because I thought... It's nice to know you're not alone.
Pat, for whom did you vote?
I voted for number two also because he looked like the type that neither rain nor heat, nor sleet nor hail would stop getting through the mail.
You know it well. Johnny.
You got some very skillful liars here tonight. I'll tell you, I voted for number one. Only because that's the only reason I'm going is because of Franklin, I guess.
All right. And your vote, Betty?
I almost switched to number one on that Vermont story because it sounded like it's something that he really believed. But number two, I have to go with it. And if he turns out to be a car salesman, I'll never speak to you again.
Fair enough. Let's see how we make out with our own totalization bit here. And if you're playing along at home with us, as we hope you are each week, check yourself for right or wrong now and have the fun with us as we learn which one of these three gentlemen is the real Chief Postal Inspector. Will the real Henry B. Montague please stand up? Oh, it's a pleasure to have you here, sir. I must say that your two stalwarts at either side of you flanking you are well learned about the various facts and figures. Number one, would you tell us your real name and what you really do, please?
My name is Charles Everett. I'm the membership director of the American Institute of Men's and Boys Wear.
And number three, your real name and what you do.
My name is Evan MacArthur, and I'm conductor and musical director of the Harrisburg Symphony and the St. Louis Municipal Opera.
You all ought to be made honorary postal inspectors. I think you should see what you can do about that when you get back down to Washington. And the score, of course, has been real good for you this time, because there were 1, 2, 3 that got you correct, but only one who got it incorrect. So the panel came back real well toward the end there after a shaky start. That means, of course, only won $250, and that's the total of it from Dristan. But, gentlemen, if you had fun, that more than made up to it, because you gave us fun. Good night to you, and good luck.
Thank you.
Well, panel, that's about all the time we have. It's always a significantly happy evening for me when I'm in your company, and I thank you for that.
Aren't you lovely, Bud? Thank you.
No, you're lovely.
Oh, he's not.
I'm Bud. Good night to you all.
Good night, Bud.
Bud Collier saying good night from Dristan Decongestant Tablets and reminding you to tell the truth. Good night, everybody.
To Tell the Truth is a Mark Goodson, Bill Codman production.
The name in our mailbox is Porter,
To our friends, we're Pete and Gladys.
and we're at home next on most of these stations.
Drop in.
To Tell the Truth has been brought to you tonight by Aerowax, made with natural wax for a shine that mops back naturally. Aerowax. Johnny Olson saying goodnight from To Tell the Truth. This program was pre-recorded.